Welcome back. We've got an unusual situation ahead of us. Let's take a look at some of the details. We are going into Russian territory proper. Just in case the political implication of marching across North Japan were not scary enough, we've got this now. But, to be fair, if the goal is to prevent a nuclear launch, almost anything is justified. This is a lie. The Dora can definitely hit a moving target with its artillery. It's not going to fire its nuclear warhead at us. It only has one, after all. And it has grander ambitions than that. At least, yeah, that's not really spoilers or a secret. They definitely have a purpose for that thing. Yep, that's exactly what he's saying. They have the only map scale weapon in the entire game. Yep, once you attack the Dora, it can't use those ultra long range artillery attacks anymore. Since we're in a hurry, and the obstacles we face are going to be different than normal, we have to use a more specialized formation. That means a few things. But before we get into that, let's we got a new sniper, well, actually, it has snipe, so it counts. We have a new recon with just snipe and ink trap, and that's really all we need for Kinsado. That seems just about perfect. We didn't really use smoke shot much anyway. Now for a big change. Ryoko is switching to anti-armor. And I'm going to use charge fire because I have no idea what ranges she's going to be firing at. Well, I sort of do, actually, which is to say it's going to be a variety. I might actually need this. And where's the next charge fire? I don't even care about the other details. Actually, having one APCR and one heat shell would be pretty good cover for what I have in mind here. In short, cleanup is also not bad. She's going to function as an anti-AFW sort of in that when she's attacked at short range by other antis, she's just going to use rapid punch and end it that way. Her armor is good enough, and she does have a decent shield. Oh yes, Jun. Jun is gonna... Oh, right. He actually needs those heat shells more, I'd say. Well, who else has them? I might be able to work with that. And how many, too? I apologize for the delay. I am slightly flustered. Yeah, three's enough. 3 is fine. This actually loads pretty well, too. So I'll go with that. And he definitely needs this unit with 5 heat shells. So he's not going to change much. John is also going to switch to anti-armor, and it has been a long time, a very long time since he's done that. But really, all he needs to be good is emergency load. That alone is enough to make him very effective at the job. On top of this, he's going to have 2 homing shot shooters. And this time, well, my usual strategy has been to just move them forward because it's less hassle and they fire fairly frequently if left alone. The problem is that normal shots for squads, their animation can be interrupted by a lot of things, and then it has to kind of start over, which makes them less reliable. Also, considering that you can get them to fire 3 times in a battle with not too much trouble, and that does around, at long range, 180 damage total just on their own, plus what John does, it should be able to annihilate just about anything that's not Dora. So, I say that a lot, don't I? Ippei and Emilio are staying the same because, well, designing loadouts for them is actually kind of too much of a no-brainer thing, if you ask me. Maybe if I play through this game again, I might try to be a little more creative with them. But the correct solution is a little too obvious for my liking. Ayana is going to switch to something else as well. This one. Because this is going to be kind of a crazy map, and I expect her to be attacked at short range at times. And heat shells will be very good. It'll mean that she can actually work just fine, and her soldiers will just keep doing their thing. Speaking of which, I need to switch Kinsado's soldiers. Co-op with Recon at short range is going to be really powerful. I don't really have much else to say. Normally I wouldn't be able to do this because Ryoko would also need doubled co-op to do her job, and Kinsado can usually get by without it, but with the formation as it is, I guess things are possibly okay. Weizsäcker, his layout will stay the same to the end of time, probably. I don't know what to say. Well, I've talked a lot without actually conveying much about what the map is going to look like, so let's dive in. A quote-unquote deterrent. The problem is they probably didn't tell anyone that Dora could launch nukes, which very strongly implies that, well, aside from nuclear experiments, they might, in fact, I think it's very likely that they intend to use it for a surprise nuclear attack. That's what makes the most sense from what I can see. Now that's very interesting. I actually like the touch that he wanted to destroy Dora even before it fell into North Japanese hands. I find it a little doubtful that the US is specifically tracking what John is doing here. Although they would probably do some investigating after whatever happens in this next map happens. So I guess it is a risk that exists. So given that the US has just made a Metal Gear with the intent with the fairly clear intent to use it, I can't really say that John is incorrect in this timeline. And of course, Kinsato, well, John didn't need to tell him this. Kinsato would do this just as a matter of course. Oh boy, Weizsäcker thinks that Kaiho is going to listen to him. That's adorable. That strikes me as a fairly crazy idea. People can be strong in a fight and also completely wrong. But it is video game logic, so I can't really complain too much. Well, let's take a look at this lineup, shall we? 7 AFWs. These are all the AFWs on the map, by the way, not the usual 20 or 24. And none of them are the squishy types. I'm actually a little grateful for this because if there were a couple of forelegs back here, I would be facing a very serious situation. Also, the map is fairly wide open, and this means a couple of things. One of which is they can fairly easily dogpile one of my units if I'm not careful, and also, if you were sharp, you might have noticed that removing the recon from John means he can't attack from 3 or 4 squares away anymore, but with this map layout, I guarantee it is not going to matter. So let's check the turn list, because that is definitely going to affect what I can do. I do not like where Weizsäcker is right now. I really, really don't like where Weizsäcker is. Ryoko moves before he does, though. That is a really big deal, because he's the only thing in front of John. If John and Ayana were switched, then it wouldn't be such a big deal, but whatever. Kinsato stays where he is. He's in attack range of these two, and that is exactly the amount of combat I want him to see before his next turn, so that's okay. Where to move Ryoko? That is actually a fairly big problem. And I definitely don't want her to get attacked 3 times if it can be avoided. So, if I remember correctly, yeah, so one of them moves, then Ippei moves, then Emilio moves. So that's 2 enemy moves before these guys can sort of really take the front line. Therefore, I think it's reasonable to move Ryoko forward. I'm not gonna test my luck by having her attack, though. That would be a little crazy. Things are going to be a little rough for Weizsäcker. He's probably going to lose his shield. As for Jun, I don't know. Definitely don't want him to be attacked, because he could fairly easily get punched, and also I want to conserve him for later. I have a plan for him. If it goes well enough, this person is going to be very useful. Yep, there it is. There it is. I was afraid of this. Oh, right, I almost forgot to mention. All of these frontliner guys have an infantry unit with cooperation, so that's going to be fun. The good thing about this is Weizsäcker's armor is so amazing that it probably won't even matter what I'm doing here. I actually didn't bother to see if the opponent has repair. I probably should have checked that. Why do I say that? Because I'm probably going to use a straight strike. I'm definitely going to use a straight strike. That being said, supply units almost always have repair, so this is probably a wasted maximum attack. Well, actually, I won't say that exactly. It does mean that they're probably going to put their supply units on the ground next time, which, well, they're not really amazing units on the ground. But even so, it's something I should have paid attention to. I'll be able to check after this combat. Yep, they got repair. Well, what you gonna do? These guys are probably... well, yeah, they're gonna move fairly soon. I guess I'll have to do this. Oh, I'm surprised they didn't move forward and attack Vizegger or Ryoko. Well, that's good news for me. You know very well that Ippei is more than capable of dealing with this sort of thing. Also, it looks like the medium AFW's loadouts are less scary. As far as infantry goes. You can tell from this map and layout what the developers thought were good skills and AFWs and loadouts. For example, pretty much all of these guys have a supply unit with them. There are not many medics, and they have stuff like cooperation and repair. Oh, that's right. I forgot to tell you what the green unit I got was. That's because they're not memorable. It's a medic unit. Yep. Medic with bonkers armor, 70, and they have height morale, so they're pretty much impossible to kill. And both their frontline skill and their special shells are white phosphorus. This video is running slightly long, so I don't have time to explain why white phosphorus is bad. But don't worry, I'll get to that next video, I promise. Alright, let's check attack range. Yeah, this seems like a good spot. You guys do not have repair. Well, you're getting a straight strike, aren't you? That means I should follow up on these guys if I have the chance. Since there's only 7 enemy AFWs, I can definitely be a little more trigger happy with the maximum attacks than I normally would be. Like, you see me play, I almost never use straight strike on Ippei just because quick move is so important. That being said, it's still better than Emilio's rapid punch. In fact, of the 3 people who have special, actually of the 4 people who have special melee strikes, Emilio's is the least useful. Weizsäcker and Ippei, well, breaking an enemy's weapon is definitely a nice option to have, especially because I've never seen straight strike fail to do it, unlike aim weapon. Ryoko needs her rapid punch because otherwise her attack is garbage. Well, not complete garbage, but it is increased a lot by rapid punch. But Emilio's attack isn't increased that much, and he really needs his quick move. Do you have repair? Why no. No, you do not. Why do I ask this? Because I'm considering firing a check fire before I go in. I mean, damaging the legs of an anti-AFW seems okay. But I can't really follow up, and they'll probably just spend their next turn repairing if I do that, so I changed my mind. Given that I need to finish this map really quickly, I'd actually prefer that enemies spend their turns attacking me rather than recovering. Yeah. Now my build, which is mostly made to just wreck the enemy armor, would probably burn itself out too fast if it was a normal map. But since this isn't a normal map, I need to move fast to minimize the heavy artillery that's gonna happen, and there aren't many enemies. Well, my layout looks like this. What I find funny is that the map designers probably knew this would happen, which is why they made all of the enemy AFWs on the map the toughest ones to kill quickly. But that's not going to stop me, I think. Yeah, for example, Rapid Punch on these guys increases the damage from around 72 to 95 or something. That's not worth a maximum attack, in my opinion. Well, what's my counterattack going to look like? I hope that's going to be interesting. Also, I think I want Jun to move up here. He should be able to do a lot of damage to these guys. and he won't take too many counterattacks if I manage this right. But most importantly, I definitely want him moving up here. As I said, I got plans. Whew. I think I want... Well, it doesn't really matter what I want. She can only attack one of them. But I think that's a good place to stop. I did spend a lot of time in the formation screen and explaining what the map looks like, and now you know. So... Want to see what I'm doing next? Tune in next time. Well, this game is terrifying. Later.